Michael.
Hey, how you doing?
Good, man. Good. Sorry about missing you.
I got the team here too.
Hey there.
I got them on a screen
Gentlemen.
over here, so they're going to be asking questions as well. If that's okay.
That's fine, man. It's great. That's what we're here for.
Awesome. Yeah, like I say, let's close these windows. Every time he's doing something, this guy's doing that. Sorry, guy. Every time I try to have a meeting, the guy with the weed eaters out there just on my lawn, just hanging.
I get
Never
it.
fails.
I get it. We ready?
Oh yeah, ready.
So we're going to talk about pricing.
Yes.
Manipulating pricing, and
Yes.
and I sat through. I think I mentioned it to you yesterday. I sat through a kind of a town hall meeting with Mike Fulton and Mark Watley, who are two big industry guys. Mike Fulton is the president of Xactware, and Mark Watley runs.
Mike Fulton, he's the actual president of Xactimate, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and Xactimate is just a one portion of a huge machine, which is called Verisk. And Xactimate is the only product that Verisk has that is actually consumer facing and contractor facing. Everything else Verisk does is for the carrier, for insurance companies.
Okay.
They've got underwriting, they've got a whole bunch of data stuff. They got, just tons of stuff. So, but Mike Fulton said, he keeps reiterating, and God bless him for it, that Xactimate is not in charge of building in your margins as a contractor. Xactimate is not in charge of building in your profit. What Xactimate does a really good job of is estimating costs. And it does a real good job. It does, I can run component reports and get a pretty good idea if the estimate's written well, get a really good idea of how much labor is going to be involved, how much I'm going to need to spend on material, how much material am I going to have to buy, you just yields and efficiencies and things like that. So if I know the estimates have been written well, I can rely on that. I can hand those things over to a project manager or a superintendent and have them order, put together a schedule, order materials and things like that, put together a budget. But what that won't get me is the profit that I need at the end of the day. And it won't get me the things I need to do to cover the overhead of running a business, taxes and insurance and office staff and all that other stuff. So, and Mike reiterated this yesterday, it's on us to build that in. And we have a great tool to do that. So that's what I'm going to show you right now. So if you guys have, do you have a pro version, a pro license to Xactimate, or a basic for, what do you have?
I have an online version. I think it's the newest one. It updated recently.
So X1, you're running X1?
Yeah, I have X1. Yeah, I have X1.
Okay, so can you see that in the chat right there? Open your chat window pricing.xactware.com.
I don't see anything in there. Do you guys see anything? No, we don't see anything in the chat.
Okay. Well, let me. Oops. I just retype it. Xactware.com.
All right, there we go.
Okay. That is a link you can get to from inside Xactimate, but it opens up another web page.
Okay.
So before we go there, we've got to talk about what is an appropriate margin.
Okay.
And if that margin is appropriate, what type of markup does it take to get to that margin? So 10 and 10, basic stuff. 10 and 10 is a 20% markup. That's a contractor markup. But 20% markup does not give you a 20% margin, right? So the margin is what you make. The markup is what you add to get your margin. So two very different things. So here's a good example. I have this. Oh, come on, focus.
There we go.
I have this on my monitor to remind myself that a 20% markup, is it backwards to you?
No, I was showing him that 50% markup is what you need to get.
Yeah. If you need a 33% margin, which is gross profit, you have to mark it up 50%.
We're losing a lot of money, dude.
And
so 33%. So when you just do this,
the target is 20%, right?
No. So the markup, 20% markup, overhead and profit only gets you a 16% gross profit margin. But in all businesses, you want that 33.33%. So that means you have to mark up an estimate 50% to make a profit.
Is that understood with the carriers that like the contractors? Is it like accepted that a contractor's goal profit would be 33%? Or would they say, oh, a contractor only needs to be profiting less than 33%?
It would at least be 33%.
At
No
least
one in their
even-
right mind is going to tell you that they can run a business on less than those margins.
Oh, wow. 33%. Okay.
And so Mike Fulton said yesterday, he doesn't even know if 35% is enough. And he said, well, 40 to 50%, in some markets, it might need to be 60%, depending on what your overhead is, right? The bigger your overhead, the more you've got to build in to cover that overhead. And he was actually talking, he mentioned, if you need 50% margins or 60% margins, you are at a keystone markup. You are at 100% markup, right?
Wow.
So this
double the estimate, basically.
Exactly. Because, in certain markets and you do in certain things, especially high-end homes, you're not going to do that for Walmart pricing. You're not going to get a contractor in there to do the quality work that you need to get done for 33%. They're going to want more. They're going to want 40. They're going to want 50. So 50% margins is 100% markup. That's a keystone markup. So choose what markup you want. And I'm going to use 50%.
Okay.
Because I've got it up on my board. I just remind myself, like 11%, 11% profit, which is reasonable, plus a 22% overhead, which is not unreasonable. I talked to a guy last week at 31% overhead. I mean, he's dying. He's I don't know if he's working really insufficiently or he's just driving 100 brand new trucks.
If I can pause you there, when you say that a company has 20% or whatever percent overhead, you're saying in relationship to the revenue that's coming in every month. So 20%, their overhead is 20% relative to the total revenue that's coming in every month. What do you mean by?
Their overhead costs are 20% of their total revenue. Yes.
Okay, good.
Yeah. Which is, I mean, you do the math. If you understand your numbers and you run a profit and loss, that's not an unreasonable number.
Yeah.
It takes money to run businesses. It takes money to pay staff and everything else.
Are you seeing people now that it's inflation? Are you seeing people more wanting to have to run the numbers up more, even more?
Well, I think they should.
Yeah.
I'm not seeing it right now. A lot of people
Yeah.
are scared right now. Like, I can't raise my rate, so I'll get, I won't get that job. Well, guess what? We're, real inflation. I think they measured it. They called it at 8.5%, but that means it's really 22%. Inflation is killing us. And if we're not adjusting our pricing, Xactimate will accommodate for the costs and accommodate. They're a little bit, they're probably 2 months behind perpetually on updating the material pricing and the labor pricing, but they're not responsible for covering our overhead. That's on us. So we're going to use, so if you need 11% profit and you got a 22% overhead, that's 33% margin you have to make. 33% margin is a 50% markup. So we're going to put a 50% markup on this particular price list. So that's laying the stage. So I'm going to do a share screen. Excuse me. Good God. Here we are. I'm in the price list editor. So give me, what market are you guys in? Give me a
Los Angeles.
So give me a zip code.
Let's do 90036.
36.
Mm-hmm.
What's the do you know offhand what what the price list would be? I mean, I guess I can come over here and figure it out. Let's just put something on this. 90036. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
$90036. Okay. Let's see which one it is. Okay, that's CA LA. That's just okay. That's California. Okay, that's the Los Angeles. All right. 8X. And the month doesn't really matter, but I'm going to do it anyway. Okay. All right. I'm going to download that price list just so I can have it. What's your sales tax down
What do
there?
you usually do? I just put 10 and I've never got any pushback from the carriers.
Okay. All right. So that just gives me what I need. Because when you're generating, you're going to create a market. You're going to name it. And this is it LOS?
Uh-huh.
Oh, okay. All right, so we got to pick a name, and I don't think it's how many digits do we get? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We get 8 digits. What do you want to name this market?
Let's
go LA Metro.
Yeah, that's fine. Perfect. If we're right in this middle of the city right now.
Yeah. Los Angeles. Did I spell that right? No.
EL or ES. I'm sorry, ES.
Metro. Okay. What's this even mean? Okay, so we just created a market. Come on. What happened here? Yeah. I don't know what sorting order means. Okay, come on. What the F? Okay, sorry, hold on.
That's all right.
Create a
When
market.
I put that price Xactware.com editor, it'll take me to that page, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Why am I not able to? Here's my markets. Okay, so these are all the markets I already generated. So these are all price lists that I've factored. Let's try this. There we go. I was doing it from the wrong screen, I guess. Okay, so this is where we put in our CALA. So every price list you've got to start with you have to link it to an existing price list within Xactware.
Gotcha. That makes perfect sense. I'm glad I know that. Okay, cool.
And I'm recording this. I'll send you the recording.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, there we go. We've got Los Angeles Metro. And now we're going to come back here. Let's see if we can do it from here. No, we're going to do it from here. We're going to factor prices. And we're going to choose our LA market that we just created. And then you can see here, material, equipment, and labor. And we already know the markup. We chose our 50% markup. So we're going to increase material components by 50%. You know, this is not rocket science. There's just
this is way easier than I thought it would be.
No, it's basic. So all components, you know, you could be a little more selective if you wanted to. I've got guys that say, you know, I don't need to mark up the equipment that much because I own my equipment. I'm already making, you know, I'm making buco money on my equipment. You know, so maybe I choose I'm just gonna boost my equipment by 20%. But you know, maybe your labor in that market is off the charts and you want to boost it by more. You know, you can do it by 50 or 60 or whatever you want. Material. Anyway, so this using these numbers, and I'm going to change the equipment to 20 just for fun. You know that whatever you do with this price list, you have baked in profitability and you've baked in overhead. And so it's just going to make you and your contractors a whole lot. It's going to make it easier for you to make money on these jobs. Okay, data's been updated. Let's refresh. Now we're going to publish that price list. I'm going to publish to all my licenses. Allow others to copy. Oh, and this is where I use the nomenclature. I use Q222. You know, when I publish this, I do it every quarter. I'll publish a new price list. And this is all you have to do so Q3, whatever. So we're going to call this Q222. And so the name of this price list, I'll show you in a second. Q2_22. Yes. And no one's doing this, really no one's doing this because they don't know how and they don't understand it. It's going to take an education. You're going to have to educate the adjusters on this is why we did it this way. You're going to have to educate your contractors. This is why we did it this way. And it's important that you get buy-in from your contractors that 33% margin is the right number. It might not. It's probably closer to 40. And then you work the math backwards.
Okay.
So there's the name, LA Metro Q2_22. I'm gonna write that down. LA Metro Q2_22. That's the
And
name you're gonna have
also,
to look up.
this could get that way. I'm gonna like, just because I want to protect our profitability and the people wanting to use us, as I might, you showed us this, but I might, this is a tool that we can use in marketing and be like, hey, well, we know a way to get you more money, know how to get you more money. You want to hire us the first, as a public adjuster on any claims that you might have,
Yep.
I think this is a great way for and we can justify it, and we know how
Yep.
to. They don't know how, we'll help them, and we'll ask them what their margins and other percentages are. But this is something I see us kind of being proprietary, that we don't want to just let everybody know. I know that sounds kind of greedy, but I mean that's just like a way for us to position ourselves in the market to be valuable,
Right.
to other people.
Right. I mean, just like you can tell them that you're going to build in these margins. You don't have to tell them how.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Okay. So we're going to come back here. It says it was published. So let's pick, let's just pick one to reprice. Let's pick an old one. Here we go. 2020. That's old enough. So when you're opening these things up, it no longer, it won't find it. It used to be you could just type in the zip code and it would automatically find it for you. But you have to request this price list, and you can't do it by location because it won't show up. You have to do it by name, and this is where the name goes in. Okay. LA Metro Q2_22. There it is. Next. And then that would be, yes, please. Yes, reprice. Okay. Now that is in your system. Holy shit.
Oh, wow.
181,000.
Whoa, shit.
But it's real.
It's real.
It's just, it is what it is. You are not going to get this paid automatically. You are going to have to argue and fight for this. But I am, after the RIA conference I just came back from, after that 3 days, I'm redoing my process when I write sheets. Okay. Hold on, stop sharing. I am now there's going to be a cover letter on every single one of the sheets that I write that says, this is how we arrived at this price list. It's going to also demand, if there's anything in the policy that prohibits me from changing these pricing, or if there's anything in the policy that says we have to use a specific price list, please say so now, right? Fair warning, say so now. Otherwise, this is the price we're using. But it's going to take insureds and contractors that are on board. So you have to educate them on, this is why it is what it is. And just show them, hey, they will fall in love with another $100,000 on their file, right? And you explain to them, this is why. Because Xactimate doesn't have any margins built in. It never did. And 10 and 10 is just not enough. Now, that being said, should you also add 10 and 10 on the estimate that they use here? No, I don't think you should. Okay. Because, and if you do plan on using 10 and 10, then it's not a 50% markup anymore. It's a 30% markup. Right?
Okay. If you do 30. Okay, got it.
Yeah, because the 10 and 10 is a 20% markup, and when you did 50, so you just do the price list by 30%.
Okay.
Otherwise, don't use 10 and 10 on this, because that would be a lot.
Yeah. Yeah.
No one's gonna say yes. No one.
So
they're gonna.
So I guess now that seemed pretty easy, and it's recorded, so I can go back and look at that. So what is your the beginning argument with? I know the adjuster's going to shit their pants.
Yep.
And they're going to be like, what is this? So we're going to have to basically give them a lesson in business every time, right?
Mhm.
Kind of like, this is how business is.
Yeah.
And then where is it in the policy that says
Yeah.
that we have to use a price list that you have
Show
pre-approved?
me the policy provision that allows State Farm or Allstate or AAA to dictate standardized pricing. Show me that standard. Show me that book. Show me that white paper. Show me anything that says AAA can say this is what every contractor should charge every time.
Okay.
And it doesn't exist. And you're probably going to have to go to the manager. You're going to probably have a discussion with the claims manager. And you're
What if
going to
they
have to get
say-
your client involved. You're going to have to get the contractor involved and present a unified front on this point. And you do
Andy.
that, you can't lose.
Yeah.
Yeah, but what if they say, we owe the fair market value
What is that?
policy, but it's.
Yeah. Yeah. What is that? What is fair?
What is
And then you're
that?
debating, because it says in the California codes that you owe the fair market value. And then they'll say that Xactimate is the fair market value and our contractors can do it for this price. That's kind of like.
Well,
the
they
circuit
can
working
say
with the-
Xactimate is fair market value. And then you show them the white paper from Xactimate that says we are cost only. We do not include supervision, overhead, or profit in any line item anywhere ever. So
Okay, and then how are all the carriers coming to that 10 and 10? Like, where did that come from? Because
out
that's
of somebody's
typically-
ass. It came out of
They-
somebody's ass. Long time ago.
So that's really okay.
And we all just said, okay. It was just a random number, because anyone that's running a business for any amount of time understands a 16% margin is not a business margin that is sustainable. You can't live on it. And the reality is the pricing used to be like, we didn't care because we knew that the pricing was a lot higher than what there used to be margin in, even though they never built it in. It just used to be more profitable. We used to have smaller overheads in general. Things used to cost a whole lot less. Labor cost a whole lot less. We could get a technician for $10 an hour. You can't get a technician for $22 an hour now. And you're competing with McDonald's for $22 an hour employees. And, if I had a choice to crawl into crawl space and suck poop or go flip burgers for the same amount of money, what am I going to do? So
You're gonna flip burgers.
restorers,
true.
restorers are fighting that every single day, and they've got to pay $25 an hour with benefits and everything. Now they got to go $25, $26, $27 an hour now. That never used to be the case. So the labor, there was margin in the labor in Xactimate, but there isn't anymore. It's gone. There's just nothing there.
Okay.
But
So
yeah,
it seems that really the point that we're arguing is hey, what 10% overhead, 10% profit is not realistic. That's really the point that we're honing in
Yeah.
on. We're arguing, yeah.
you say I have a 25% overhead. I need 11% profit. And that's 11% margin. And that 10% that 10% is a
Yeah.
markup. I need 11% margin. And you ask the adjuster, what kind of margin does 10 to 10 give me? And you're going to educate them. You're going to tell them that's not a 20% margin. That's a 20% markup, which gives me a 16% margin. And they're going to say all kinds of things. Oh, well, supervision is included. No, it's not. Here's a white paper from Xactimate. It says it's not included. Well, you don't need supervision on that job. It's not a complex job. You say, well, can I speak to your supervisor? Oh, you have one. You have a supervisor, but I can't have a supervisor. Just grow them and stand your ground. There's, we spend too much time as an industry cowering and being afraid of what somebody might say. Well, guess what? That fear is limiting your bottom line.
Yeah.
And I'm over
I
it.
mean, I just call and just cuss somebody out every day at USA8, and until they finally, when I called in the call center, they were like, "Hey, wait, is this the fire claim?" Everybody knew that it was like, oh, and then finally, I just went nuclear. I told them I had talked to the congressman in their district, and they got me to some guy in Florida right away. And he's like, "We're just gonna pay it."
Yeah. Yeah.
We're just gonna pay it. Yeah, and so so basically, where we're getting from this is a lot of these, and our owner said that, and I was a farmer's adjuster. A lot of these guys are just trained to say, supervision and project management are in your overhead and profit. Well, they're trained to say that, but that doesn't mean, okay, I'm going to tell them you're trained to say that, but that doesn't mean shit to me or my contractor who has a business to run. Like
they didn't get that from a book. They didn't get that from a standard. They got that from their supervisor or their trainer or the guy on the next cubicle. They said, "What do I do with this?" And the guy's like, "We don't pay for that." And that's where it just continues and continues. It's an old wives' tale. It's a myth that we are enabling them to persist in. And so I'm about, the last 5 years of my career and the last few years of my career, I'm going to dispel those myths every single day. I'm going to blow them up, and I'm going to blow them up with facts and documents that say this is how it is. It's not how you want it to
get
be.
those white paper highlights?
I'll send them to you.
You send it to me? Okay.
Yeah.
It's from Xactimate, and that's the program that they want you to use. So we're using it. So why don't you play by the rules? Because they're not playing by the rules at all. Actually, now that we've learned this, they're not playing by the rules whatsoever.
We use Xactimate out of a courtesy to the carrier, so we can have a conversation using common language. That's the only reason we use Xactimate.
I just want to kind of go back a little bit. So we're saying that it's understood in the industry, from business owner to business owner, that 33% is a reasonable and expected profit. That's kind of the number that we're
that's common knowledge across everything, right?
What ask your contractors what kind of gross margin they have to have. Ask your project managers, what kind of gross margin do you have to have in order to get a bonus on that job? And when I was a project manager, if I didn't get at least 35% gross, I didn't bonus on that job.
Yep, that's true.
Because my owner knew
42 at Alliance.
Yeah, exactly. If I didn't get that number, they were losing money because they knew their overhead. They knew what their business cost them to run, and they knew what profit they were shooting for. So, I think 33 is low, but it's a starting point. It's a starting point.
Okay. And I know you're worried about the pushback, but like I said, we can just train. Once we get he sends us those things, we can do some role playing and training too. So it's more like being on the phone and be able to come, and especially if you're coming back with facts right away, like they're there, and you put it in writing form too. They're like you said, it's gonna escalate to a manager.
Yeah. And that's the point. The guy that's giving you a hard time on the phone at first, he doesn't have authority to settle a claim anyway.
Yeah. Would you tell me yesterday? Ask. Do you have the authority to settle my claim right now?
Right.
Right.
Do you have the authority to settle my claim? No. Then what the fuck are we doing here? We're wasting each other's time. Let's move on. Get me to the guy. I want to talk to the guy.
Yeah.
I don't talk to you. No offense.
Yeah, as a PA, we should have that attitude too. Like, I'm not talking to you. I'm going to talk to your manager because you can't do anything for me.
You can't help me.
Yeah.
You can't help you insured. Why are you even here? Oh, well, I was assigned a claim. Well, okay, reassign the claim, man.
Yeah.
Because this thing just went beyond your $10,000 authority.
Yeah. So I apologize if I'm taking a step back. I'm really just trying to understand in my mind this whole profit and margin, right? Because you're saying that if a company, if let's say a construction company, if their profit margin isn't at least, let's say 35%, right? So let's say they do, $200,000 of revenue a month. And so their profit would be $70,000 a month if they have a 35% profit margin. Correct?
Okay, I think I'm tracking. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm thinking from an adjuster's perspective, or an insurance carrier, they're thinking, well, $70,000 of profit is plenty. What, like, even if they're making
Plenty compared to what? Plenty.
so that's what I'm saying.
Plenty.
It's all subjective. It's all subjective.
It
It's based
is
on
incredibly subjective.
But how can we argue that $70,000 of profit, or 35%, is going to put a contractor in a compromising position as a business owner? Like, I don't understand that part. Like, if they were at 20%, and that means they're doing $40,000 of profit a month, how can I explain to an adjuster that 20% is not going to be sufficient based on their overhead? How does the overhead impact that? I'm trying to understand how, even if we use 20%, a number that's less than 35%, how can I show an adjuster that, hey, 20% for a profit margin for a contractor is not reasonable in running a business? Because the number
But that's not a 20% profit margin. It's a 20% markup. It's not a 20% profit margin. It's a 16% profit margin.
Yeah, it's a 16. So if you take, she showed me the math yesterday. So if we have $1,000 job times 20% overhead and profit, that's 200 or 1,200 bucks. So you make $200
job,
profit.
you made $200 on that job. 200 divided by 1,200, 16%. You made a 16% margin on that job, assuming everything went right. Assuming you didn't go over your costs or your timeline or anything else. A perfectly run job you made 16% on, you are moving backwards as a business by 15% because you need 33, 35% in order to keep the lights on.
And that's what you're gonna have. You're gonna talk to your contractors. What is the percentage that you need? And then we get them there, and then we just say X, Y, Z.
What you'll find is some of your guys will know your numbers.
Yeah.
A lot of your guys don't know their numbers. They're operating on the mentality, I've still got checks in the checkbook, so there must be money there. These guys are like, they get to the end of the year and there's a couple of dollars in the account, like, oh, I made money. Those guys aren't going to know their numbers. But I'm telling you right now, in my experience, it's 35% every day of the week. And the bigger you get, the ATIs of the world, the Blue Skies of the world, they are running a 30% overhead, and they still need another 10, 11, 12 profit on top of that. So they need margins in the 40s. If you need margins in the 40s and approaching 50, you are getting to that 100%. You're getting to that keystone markup. And that's what Mike Fulton reiterated yesterday. This is coming from Xactware. He is fully aware that there's some markets and there's some contractors that need to do 100% markup on the price list. Period. Because guess what? You go try to build a house right now. What's the pricing there? You're going to go, you ask that contractor, it's going to be $350 a foot. How much of that 350 is actually getting built into the house? Probably half, because the contractor is making money. The contractor has a certain amount of overhead, and there's no shame. There should be no shame to make money for running a business. And the adjusters just don't have a perspective. They don't understand what it takes to run businesses. They don't understand what it takes to make profit on a job. They really don't understand what it means to lose money on a job because things went wrong. And so they have no idea. They think they're making 60 grand a year. They don't understand that their 60 grand costs that company 120 with burden and overhead and insurance and health and everything else. They don't see that other 60. They just think it's free. They don't understand what it takes to run a business, and so we have to show them.
Yeah, when I was an adjuster, they were like, I get like, they would just do the bare minimum. It was like, they just they train employees. That's all you need. That's all. Don't let them tell you anymore. That's all you actually need. And like, what's the industry standard? You just can't make up. And the one I saw from State Farm one is like, well, our philosophy is. I was like, well, I don't care about your philosophy. Nobody gives a shit about your philosophy. Like, I mean,
is your philosophy in your policy? Show me that. Show me that.
Well, it seems like the policy, leaning back on the policy and having, to make money, those two things will help negotiate with the manager.
Yeah. And it's really important that the number comes from a contractor. The number coming from you and I doesn't have the same amount of weight.
Yeah. And then the question becomes, when they come back and say, hey, our contractor X can do it for this price, what's your general response to that?
Well, I'm sure they could do less scope for that price, but it's not their job. That contractor doesn't have that job. And if they steal that job, that's tortious interference. You're interfering with the contract.
So what kind of interference is that?
Tortious interference. It's contractual interference.
Well, that's good to know.
Unless it's appraisal, their contractor's number is just a really bad opinion, because we know why they're there. That contractor didn't come in for that job. That contractor came in to just do a softball estimate for the adjuster. That's not a credible estimate. That's not a credible number. They have zero credibility. I'll charge, I just did $1 million job, 1.8, whatever it was, for a homeowner. I'm writing it up and I'm consulting for him, running it as a PA, but not really. My total fee is going to be $5,000. My fee on a couple $100,000 job would be, $2,500, $3,000 or something like that, just to get the job done, to do it right, to document it right, and put together the claim package for him. These guys are coming in and writing the same, like they're writing $200,000 sheets for $200 or free. What kind of credibility does that number have? That's just a fluff number. It's fake.
Yeah.
And when they say my guy will do it for that, you say, hey, does your guy have the contract on this job? No, he doesn't have a contract on this job. Is Mrs. Smith the client of your guy? No. So this guy his number is meaningless. Show me in the policy where you get to bring in a guy to just to undercut a real number. And also show me in the policy where you get to completely ignore a valid submitted proof of loss. I hope you guys are submitting proof of loss on every single file.
What do you mean?
Uh-oh.
Like that.
Uh-oh.
Yeah. Let's get into that. Yeah.
Hey, so right now, Andy, we haven't chatted yet, but one of the things I was going to talk to you about.
Yeah, he's already signed up with a lesson with you already.
So one of the things is, we're at a firm where, hey, guys, great and everything like that, but I've talked to owners of other firms, I've talked to other companies, and this is the stuff they talk to me about. Like, hey, do you guys submit proof of losses? I'm like, bro, what are you talking about?
Yeah, can we go over that?
So that's one thing I want to go. I'm sure we don't have time now, but I want to understand how, like, larger PA firms, submit all their documentation. Because for us, it's just very casual. Like, when we send a letter of rep, we just send them a copy of the signed contract and saying, hey, we're representing this claim. That's our letter of representation. There's nothing else. And then we're just submitting documents after that.
You need to read every single policy you get front to back.
Okay.
And then you follow the policy. There's certain timelines that, I haven't read into California policy for a while, but there's certain timelines that are all set on after, 14 days after a proof of loss, 30 days after a proof of loss is submitted.
Yeah.
And what the policy will say is after we request a proof of loss, but the proof of loss is what starts every single clock ticking. That is the insured, and you are working on behalf of the insured. This is your statement. This is what we believe the loss is worth. Here it is. Respond to that. In the absence of a proof of loss, they're going to play games with you because they can, because you haven't forced them to look at a proof of loss and talk to the document.
But is a proof of loss in a different format than a contractor's estimate, Xactimate estimate? It's a different format than that?
Yes and no. When it comes down to it, in the court of law, things go to the Supreme Court, things get, go all the way. A proof of loss could be a number on a napkin. A proof of loss could be a phone call to an agent. This is my, I had a loss. This is what I think it's worth. But a signed, notarized proof of loss is a very different document. And you have specific state-specific formats, templates for proofs of loss. Every state has a different format, but they all pretty much similar. But you want to find the California proof of loss template and follow that. And you start submitting proofs of loss with those contractors' estimates, legitimate backup numbers. This is realistic stuff. You're going to blow this first adjuster out of the water. He's going to be gone. Because letter of representation, it's nice. Proof of loss says, oh, we mean this. We're going to have to take this seriously.
Okay. That's something that we need to get on then.
Yeah, definitely.
That is something.
You should submit a proof of loss on every single file.
Okay.
Every single file.
Does that include each coverage, like contents, loss of use, the whole
Yes.
shebang, or yeah?
Yes. And
can-
what
can
I
it-
do, if there's things I don't know, I leave some wiggle language in there. This is our statement and proof of loss as we know it today,
Okay, yeah, because
as far as we know.
when it comes to ALE, like loss of use, housing and whatnot, do you have any way around of that being incurred? Or is it typically incurred? Are you able to negotiate cash outs with different carriers, or is it generally incurred?
I've heard that people have negotiated cash outs. I've
With
heard
farmers, we negotiate a cash out. We can do that with farmers.
that. Yeah.
But other than that, no, we haven't been able to really.
Most of it is cost incurred. But
Okay.
I got a gal I'm helping out here in Oregon. They had her in a hotel and she was burning through her ALE. I mean, and she was severely underinsured on ALE. And I said, I went to the adjuster and said, hey, let's cash her out. Let's figure this out. And he couldn't do it because he didn't have the authority and whatnot. So I said, fine. I told her to go get a quote for a trailer. Go get a quote for a travel trailer. And so she signed a letter of intent to buy a trailer for magically what was left in her ALE. And they took that and they wrote her a check for that amount. So because it was incurred, she said, I'm going to buy this trailer. Here's my letter of intent to buy the trailer. Here's the receipt or invoice from the trailer company. And they wrote that check. Now, did she end up buying that trailer? No, she ended up, she was in a bad way. She needed the money to do something other stuff. So she bought a different trailer, but she had the cash to do that with.
A letter of intent, that's a whole other thing. So there's letter of intents that you can have signed and then have accompanied with an invoice to basically show that something's been incurred or will be incurred.
Yeah. Well,
That's
I mean,
nice.
if they're going to stay with, the other thing is, if they're going to stay with family, write up a lease agreement.
Oh yeah, we do that for sure.
Write up a lease agreement.
Yeah.
Get them that money every month. And I always say, hey, we're going to be there 12 months. Here's the lease agreement. Pay us 12 months. And sometimes they say, oh, they pay 12 months. And sometimes they do it every freaking month and just just grind it. They grind it out. But ALE is, I don't take my fees on ALE. I don't think it's the right thing to do. I'll take my fees where I provide value, but I don't see me providing value on ALE. So I don't put it as I don't take my fees on ALE.
Well, if
unless I cash them out, and then I have provided value. I provided that cash up front. I will take a fee on that.
But
That's the only time we've ever done that. I
But in a
think.
scenario where you've helped, your client set up a lease agreement with a family member, something that they wouldn't have done, they would have been staying there for free. And now that family member is either making money or they're getting a discount kind of, around the back, or whatever. Like that's significant value, I'd say. Because
Yep.
you're putting more. So would you charge them that, or you still wouldn't charge if you help them set up a lease agreement?
Yeah, but that's up to you. That's up to
Yeah.
you. You know, I am confident in my ability to make money.
Yep.
So I don't have to make money on everything. I'm
Definitely.
going to make mine. I'm going to make it worth my while. If it's not worth my while, I'm not taking a file in the first place.
Yep.
And that also, yeah, that goes a long way to build goodwill. You know, you got to understand that you take on a file for an insured as a PA, and you're married to that thing. And things get weird and things get tough. You're married to that thing for 2-3 years.
Yep.
That thing goes to appraisal, and then it goes to trial. 3-4 years you're married to that thing. So it's got to be worth your while. And that's what I tell everyone up front. This is a long-term thing. We are not going to get this thing settled in 3 months. Just by virtue of my involvement, this is going to take longer. Now, if you don't want me involved, you can probably cash out today for 50 cents on a dollar. And that's up to you. If you decide that's not what you want, call me back. You have my number. That's my cell. Really. I mean, I don't even try. I don't chase. I just, if they see the value, they're going to call me and we're going to sign it up, and it's going to be a mutually beneficial arrangement. So I know 2 guys that do really good PA training back east, and I'm going to take Cal Spoon does a boot camp that I need to go get into, because I'm a restorer. I started doing, sucking poop out of crawl spaces in 1999, and I'm a great estimator. But the PA side of this whole industry is something that I don't have a whole lot of experience in. The estimating is I'm super strong on it. That's why I have 5 people to write for me, and I write for contractors across the country. But I would highly suggest, given that, no offense, but you guys should have known you had to have a proof of loss in every single file. Those things are things that I am going to get educated on too. So I'll send you a link to the 2 classes I'm looking at.
Okay, that'd be awesome.
And question about the estimate writing.
Yeah.
So it sounds like you do it across the country.
Yep.
Like, what are we able to have estimates written through you if we provide you the appropriate documentation,
Yep.
et cetera, or is that okay?
Yep.
And what does that look like? What would you need if I have a new loss and I'm like, hey, want to have this estimate written? What would you need from me?
Well, I need the sketch and the scope.
Okay.
Sketch,
Right.
scope, and pictures. And Matterport handles a lot of that. So if you get,
Okay.
We need to look into getting the matter
and
report.
if your contractors have Matterport, I would leverage that hard. Because I've got the big camera right here, but but this is the only camera you need. It's a 360 camera. I mean, it's not the big Mamba Jamba. And Matterport just came out with one. They came out with a tripod thing where you can put your phone if you got an iPhone 12 or newer, because these have LiDAR built into them now. You can use a phone for Matterport. So if you guys decide to go down that road and use claims delegates to write your sheets, I'll give you access to my Matterport account, and all you got to do is provide one of these. All you got to do it. You can do it yourself. Use my login, and it goes directly into my Matterport account, and I have everything. So
does that phone, using the phone in Matterport, does that do the sketch as well, or just the
that's the
photos?
point. That's the point.
Oh, so there's the measurements and everything. You don't have to do measurements. Just take all the pictures, and you get the full file.
Yeah, man. Have you seen that? Have you seen
I've
Matterport?
seen it. I just haven't used it personally. I haven't used it though.
Yeah, somebody gave me one. And I really saw like everything within the whole house. It's
And we're
crazy.
going on an hour here, but
Okay.
I think it bears, I think it's worth going into. So I did my big one. So this is one I did last week with the Pro 2 camera, but this is my most recent big one. This is 1.8 million. And I did this with the Ricoh Theta V. I didn't use the big Matterport camera. Come on in. Oh, I'm sorry. This is a different fire. No, I did use the, so here's one. You can see my Ricoh is right there in the picture. I mean, let's expand this. But I was using the Pro 2 on this one. But I mean, anything in here, let's just pick something. Let's say, okay, how tall is this door? Let's come over here. And there to there-ish. It's a little bit wonky, but 6'10". All right. But we can measure anything. I'm going to go down to the kitchen. Oh, this is a battery fire. They had a scooter right here that caught fire.
Really?
And so we're going to end up, there's a good looking guy right there. And so we're going to end up, you know, this floor's already gone. We're going to gut this, probably this whole first level. But, you know, we can go in here. How many, you know, like I can start measuring cabinets. Okay, so here you can see I switched from my Matterport Pro 2 is sitting on the counter, but this is a shot from the Ricoh 360. It's a little bit more grainy, not as detailed. Come over here. That's cleared up. So I'm going to take a measurement here. And yeah. Anyway, this is how I do all my takeoffs. But the beauty is there's a great integration where Xactimate just turns this into, let me see if I have this in my Xactimate. I don't sketch anymore. I just don't. Oh, I didn't import it yet. But I know that this file, where's my jobs? Come on. Oops, wrong button. Jobs. Uh-oh, where is it? All right, bad example, but I got the sketch, the ESX file directly from Matterport. So we didn't sketch a thing on this, and it's in Xactimate. I just couldn't find it for you right now.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like that's the future. I mean, that's just wasting time going in there and just doing everything. Yeah.
And here, I mean, we can, this is as it sat when I inspected it. Now it's gone, right? It's demoed, it's gone. But we can always go back depending on, you know, how long this file is open. Here's the big one. Here's the big one. This one came, this was I did this whole thing with the Pro 2. And you can see right now, you can see look how its floors dropped. This is all burnt out underneath. Wow. And now I was at the job site last week. This is all gone, right? This floor is gone back to here because it's burnt. It was burnt out. But we can see this job everywhere. And this came through picture perfect into Xactimate. And all I had to do was start dropping line items into it.
That's a beautiful thing.
So yeah, you need to find somebody. Oh, come on. You need to find somebody that can do your Matterports if you're not going to do it yourself.
I mean, what that probably takes, what, like with a large loss like that, probably in the house like an hour and a half or something like that.
It took me a couple hours. And the hardest thing was the lighting, getting the lighting. There were about 50 pairs of signed Jordans in this storage space.
Oh no.
And this guy is severely underinsured on contents.
Oh wow.
I mean, he probably lost $4 million worth of stuff because he's been with Nike for about 20 years.
Oh, wow.
But that's what we do, right? And
Mm.
the other thing with Matterport, you can come here. That's a bad. No, I got to fix that. I got to fix that. But you can come up. Let's go here. Let's find an example. I was able to find pre-loss photos from Zillow. Oh, come on. Why is it not pulling up? Huh. But so these are integrated into the sketch as you're reviewing it, and boom, like, oh, that's what the kitchen looked like. This is what it looks like now. This is what the kitchen looked like before.
Oh, wow.
And then inside, man, these are not working for me. There should be a link right there. Huh. But inside the estimate, you guys can still see this.
Mm-hmm.
Inside the estimate, you can put a link to anything. Where's my links? Oh, now I'm just talking shit because I can't find it. Oh, come on. Where is it? All right, I got to rework this file before I send it over again. There should be a link right at the top of roof, maybe, or exterior main. Where is? Oh, there it is. So you see this link? I got to do a better job of formatting that. But from here, I'm in the mudroom. This is the Xactimate for the mudroom. Clicking that, and it should take me right to the mudroom. Boom. So you point things out and you lead the adjuster by the nose to the space you're talking about. And this is all coming from the PDF. So there's a mudroom.
Oh, I see it right there.
Here's the kitchen. And I got to rework. I don't like that fly in. So while they're reviewing your estimate, they click on that link and they go directly to what you're talking about. Anyway,
Yeah,
I
we should
love
talk to-
Matterport and I don't like doing any claims without it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, cool.
But if you don't have Matterport, it's a sketch, it's a photo, and it's a scope. You just tell me what you want to, what you want to do, what you
Okay.
want to add.
Well, cool. Can you be sure to send us over the white paper highlights and the power statements?
Yep. The power questions. Yep.
Or the power questions, sorry. Power questions, and then the white paper, the highlights for that.
Yeah, man. Will do.
Cool.
And then yeah, do we have another appointment set up? Is that what we
I think
Well, I think I requested a time, but
okay.
it didn't yet. Yeah, I'll wait to hear back from you on that. I did.
yeah, Delano he's gonna link up with you on a certain claim file that he wants to go over with you.
Perfect. Yeah, we can just review it like this.
All right. Well, cool, man. This has been very, very, very helpful. So you'll probably hear from me again
Okay.
when I'm gonna roll with this, and then once I get to something more complex, I'll hit you up for an hour, and then we'll go over it.
Sounds great.
Or if we have something that we want to work on, we might just hit you up and see if if that's something you can help us with. We might do another group session as well.
And geographically, where do you guys what do you guys cover?
LA, Palm Springs, San Diego, all of California. His sister's up in the Bay Area, right? Sacramento. So we do all of
Okay.
California pretty much. And we're in Arizona some.
Okay. Well, yeah, I see enough that I need some good guys in California and Arizona. So
Yeah, well, I mean, I had a farmer's claim. They tried to give her $3,000 and I got them 180. So we know what we're doing, but we're trying to level up. We're making good money, but we want to take it up to the next level. We want to be able to fight better. You
Yeah.
know, I'm pretty good with estimating. You know, I say some of my estimates, but like we said, we need to get better at, like you said, being a bulldog, like be a dickhead. You
yeah,
know, we're
they're
gonna have
forcing
to
us to do it.
Yeah. So yeah, we're just trying to level up a little bit, and you're helping us do that. So we really appreciate it.
Yeah, man. Well, boys, great to talk to you. We'll be in touch.
You too. Awesome. We'll be in touch.
All right.
Thank you.